a local school counselor has been named the state's Counselor of the Year. That's just one of the things you'll want to hear about to start your day for Tuesday, July 2nd. I'm Colin Shope, and this is WCBU's On Deck. First on deck today, former Redditus Labs CEO Aaron Rossi pleaded not guilty Monday on charges of alleged COVID-19 testing insurance fraud. WCBU's Tim Shelley has more.
Rossi is being charged in federal court with 6 counts of healthcare fraud, a count of mail fraud, and 4 counts of wire fraud. Prosecutors allege Rossi double-billed private insurers and the state of Illinois for the same tests, making more than $150,000 from the state. Prosecutors allege Rossi also used improper medical codes to receive more than $150,000 from insurers for services Redditus did not perform. Rossi faces a maximum of 10 years for each healthcare fraud charge and up to 20 years for each mail fraud and wire fraud charge. He also faces a combined $2.75 million in fines. Rossi will appear in federal court again today for sentencing in a separate case where he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of federal tax and mail fraud. He's currently in custody for repeatedly violating the conditions of his pretrial release in that case. The jury trial on the new charges is scheduled to begin August 26. For WCBU's On Deck, I'm Tim Shelley with reporting from Cameron Cutinello.
Here are some other stories we're following in the WCBU newsroom. The state of Illinois has compiled nearly 800 pages of public comments regarding its plans to close the women's prison in Lincoln. And the Peoria Public Library has a new head of collections, but she's a familiar face to patrons of the McClure branch. And Peterson Healthcare's nearly 100 nursing homes will go up for auction this morning. Plus, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker still believes the door to prosecute former President Donald Trump is open, even after the Supreme Court ruled the president holds, quote, absolute immunity for official acts. You can find more of these stories and all the details at WCBU.org. A Peoria Public Schools counselor was recently named the Illinois High School Counselor of the Year. Mykesha Mitchell is a counselor at Peoria High School. WCBU's Cameron Cutinello spoke with Mitchell about how the job of school counselor has changed and her personal journey from teacher to counselor.
I taught kindergarten at the time, and the students were coming in, and over breakfast they were having these conversations about what took place in their house, what was going on, what their mom and their dad were doing, any type of fights. Kids tell it all. And I would be sitting at my desk and they would be having these conversations, and it sparked discussion. And at the time I was teaching, I had a friend who was in the counseling program at Bradley, so I would read their books. And it was just so interesting.
What's the ASCA model?
So the American School Counseling Association has guidelines for school counselors. We focus on college and careers. We focus on advocacy. We're not just guidance counselors anymore. And I want to make that really clear because a lot of people still refer to us as guidance counselors, and guidance counselor is narrow. It's a narrow framework. And so our new role and our new title is school counselor, and that encompasses a variety of things. So we not only deal with just academics, but we deal with the social emotional aspect of the students as well. We deal with the college and career aspect of the student as well.
How have things adapted and changed since you've started?
Here in Peoria, we have a lot of shootings. We've had, in the last couple of years, student deaths. I've been greatly impacted by students that I have either taught at the middle school level here in Peoria, or I've been their counselor at the high school level, that they're no longer here. And so when you take that, not just at the high school level, but every level of schooling, our students are seeing more and more what's happening in the community is affecting our students, and they bring that to school. So you can't really touch the academics and the attendance without looking at the whole child and seeing what's going on and how is that affecting their attendance in school, their behavior, their grades.
How do you approach those situations of trauma where a student might be struggling in classes because of what they're experiencing, either at home or just in life?
Sometimes it's me walking through the hall and I notice something about a student and I just check in and say, hey, are you okay? What's going on? You're looking kind of sad today. And that, builds into something else, and then they share something that's going on. So knowing that they have somebody that they can talk to, who then will also help them with the academic piece that they're missing out on at that present moment and work with their teacher and advocate on their behalf, is golden to students.
And what's your advice to other counselors in the state?
I would always say show up as your authentic self. You set the stage for greatness. Make sure that whatever you do it well. Give it 100% all the time. In school, sometimes we get bogged down with there's so many mandates, there's so much to do, we have to do. And you forget sometimes that while we're pouring out of us all the time, make sure you pour into yourself. Make sure you stay grounded with what you need to be able to pour out to your students.
Now, before we let you go, Peoria City Soccer plays tonight against Chicago City Soccer Club. The game starts at 7:30 at Peoria's Shea Stadium with post-game fireworks. Tickets start at $6. And that's all for today. You can subscribe to WCBU's On Deck podcast on the NPR app, Apple, or Spotify.